Hi students, this is Chapter 8, Lesson 5. The topic of today's lesson is inequalities. That's how you say that, inequalities. And this is the fifth note page for this chapter. We've actually used inequalities earlier in the year, but what we're going to do first is talk about inequalities, and I know that we've done two of the inequalities, but the other two inequalities that we're going to look at today, I don't believe that we've talked about those yet. But let's just get started. An inequality is a math statement that compares quantities or amounts. So I'm going to write that down. A math statement that compares quantities or amounts. So when I give you an example of an inequality, it's going to make a lot more sense. Inequalities are also read left to right. So I'm going to put this little symbol right here. You read from left to right, just like you do a sentence. And next we're going to look at the symbols for inequalities, and we're also going to translate those symbols into words. So, symbols and words. Okay, the first inequality we're going to look at is this symbol here. So that's the symbol. What I'm going to do to demonstrate that symbol is put in numbers that make it work. Remember, the mouth, it either eats this way or this way, but it's going to eat towards the greater amount. So I'm going to put in some numbers that make this work. And over here, I'm just going to write down the inequality. So for this inequality, here it is as a symbol. Now in words, if I were to read this across from left to right, 3 blank to 5, the only thing that works in that sentence is 3 is less than 5. So this symbol, that inequality, is less than. So that inequality, here it is as a symbol, and it means less than. Okay, the next inequality we're going to look at is this symbol. And again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put in some numbers that make it work. It's going to eat towards that amount, so I'm just going to put in some numbers that make that work. 7 blank 4. Well, the only words that work is 7 is greater than 4. And over here, I'll write the symbol, the inequality. So again, symbol, that symbol represents greater than. And I know that we've talked about those two inequalities earlier in the year. This next one, we haven't yet. So the next inequality, the symbol looks like this. And I'm going to make an example here. I'm also going to put an example over here for that one. So less than 6 is less than or equal to 8. When there's a line underneath the inequality, so it looks like that inequality, but with a line underneath it. That inequality right there translates to is less than or equal to. So in this statement right here, it would be 6 is less than or equal to 8. And I want to give another example over here that would work with this inequality. 6 is less than or equal to 6. That works with this inequality. 6 is less than or equal because it works on this part. It's equal to. Does not work up here. If I were to put 6 less than 6, that does not work. But if I change the inequality to less than or equal to, I could use the same number on both sides because it's less than or equal. So this inequality, that symbol, here it is as a symbol, and that means less than or equal to. So you can probably guess what's coming next. This symbol. And I'm going to put in some numbers that make this one work. 9 is greater than or equal to 1. I'll translate it in words. 9 is greater than or equal to 1. With that line right there, though, the equal to part, I could also say this inequality. I could say 9 is greater than or equal to 9. That would also work because of that line under the greater than symbol. That means or equal to. Again, that would not work here. I could not put 9 is greater than 9. Would not be a true statement. But if I use this, I could. 9 is greater than or equal to 9. So those are all our inequalities. These two I know that we've looked at. These two are new. Okay, so I'll just put those as a different color to show that these are new. We haven't talked about these. Less than or equal to and greater than or equal to. All right, so how do we use those inequalities? That's what you're going to be practicing today. Before I show you the practice problems, though, our hidden vocabulary treasure is the term improper fraction. What is an improper fraction? You can give an example and explain what it is. Improper fraction. Again, if you don't know what that is, look it up. Use your glossary. Use your Chromebook. Put define improper fraction. See what you get. If you write that at the bottom of your note page, you'll have it ready to go. If your name gets called for hidden treasure, you should know what an improper fraction is. Okay, moving on. The first kind of practice you're going to do today is something like this. You'll be given an inequality, for example, f plus 5 is greater than 11. And which number is a solution for this inequality? Which number is a solution? In other words, which number makes this inequality work? 5, 6, or 7? Oh, I left the door open. Here's the math cat. If he comes over here, I'll let him say hi. Hi, Frank. So f plus 5 is greater than 11. Which number is a solution? 5, 6, or 7? So I'll write the problem here. F plus 5 greater than 11. And then here are the possibilities. 5, 6, or 7. Which one of those works? Okay, boy, I My bad, I'm not shutting the door. He just wants to say hi again. 2 lessons in a row. Oh, he's a sweetheart. Say hi, Frank, then I'm going to let you out. Can you say hi one more time? Say hi. Oh, there it is. All right, goodbye, kids. Okay, sorry about that. I forgot to close the door, and Frank loves to get on camera. All right, so f plus 5 is greater than 11. Which of these works, 5, 6, or 7? So to solve this, it's similar to problems we've done earlier in the chapter where you put in the number and see if it works. So test 5. If you put in 5 for f, you'd have 5 plus 5 makes 10. Is 10 greater than 11? It is not. So 5 is out. I would not pick 5. 5 doesn't work. Put in a 6. 6 plus 5 is 11. Is 11 greater than 11? It is not. So 6 is out. So I'm hoping 7 works. Put in 7. 7 plus 5 makes 12. Is 12 greater than 11? It is. So 7 is the number that works. So what can you show how can you show work on this today in your workbook? Well, once you think you have a number, write that number into the inequality and show that it works, like this. 7 plus 5. And then what does this turn into? That's 12. 12 is greater than 11. That right there is not, I know you can do that in your head, but today, this is what you should be doing in your workbook, is showing once you think you have a number, plug that number into the inequality and just show how it works. So there's what your work would look like in your workbook. Plug in the number that you think works, just like that, and then what is it? What's the statement that is true? 12 is greater than 11. Okay, another type of practice today that you will do is something like this. Asking about a specific number if that's a solution to an inequality. So here's another inequality. 28 is greater than or equal to 4D. And is D equal to 7 a solution? In your book, it's not going to ask this solution part on every problem. It's just going to look like this. It'll give you the inequality. And then after that, it will say the amount it's asking you. Is that a solution? 28 is greater than or equal to 4D. Is D equal to 7 a solution for that inequality? Well, up here you had a choice. Here it's asking, does this specific number, is that a solution for your inequality? So I'm going to do the same thing as far as plugging it into the inequality. What does that mean right there? A number right next to a variable means they're being multiplied 4 times D. So I'm going to plug in 7 for D. 28 greater than or equal to 4 times 7. And then I solve that. 28 is greater than or equal to 28. Is this a true statement? It is true because of that part. 28 is greater than or equal to 28. So I'm going to write true. And because it's true, I'm going to say 28 is greater than or equal to 28, true. So D equal to 7 is a solution. I just showed it right there. So again, here's the work part. That's what will be in your workbook. Plug it in, see if it works. This is what I would want to see in your workbook if that was the problem. Plug in the number, show the statement, and then write down true, the number is a solution, or you'd write false, the number is not a solution. Again, even though you can pick out the one that works in your head, most of you will be able to do that. Prove it. Put your answer into the inequality and then show what it is after you solve it, and if the statement works or if it does not work. Okay, that's it for lesson 5. We got 2 more lessons, lesson 6 and lesson 7. There's also a lab in there, so we're getting kind of close to the end of the chapter. Again, start going back, reviewing your notes for lessons 1, 2, 3, and 4, rewatching any lessons if you don't understand your notes, but just getting in that habit of getting ready as we get close to the chapter test. Review your notes, go back to your notes over and over. All right, I'll see you soon for lesson 6.